Welcome to Cooking That Gets You Laid, Bloody Basics. I'm Crybaby Cowboy, and this week we're looking at knife care. So watch it, Jim. You too, Jim. Now, nothing is better in the kitchen than breaking your bench from lovemaking. Like lovemaking, the more difficult it is to do, the less you want to do it. 2 torn hamstrings is enough to put me off doing the human tornado ever again. Oh, it bloody hurt. I was both at once. And a blunt knife is enough to put you right off making food. So what is it you need to know about knives in order to get straight in there as easily as a restraining order into my mailbox? Today we're going to look at getting your knives sharp, what knives you need, and how to store them. Where do you want it? Rightio, sharpness is pretty bloody important in this game, which is why we're going to look at making a knife sharp. Now, most people use that long steel stick thing that they whoosh the knife up and down on. This isn't one, it's a wooden spoon. We don't have one here. Now that's good in that, but it doesn't actually sharpen your knife. It's actually something that hones. The difference being that when something sharpens your knife, it will make a blunt knife sharp again, but this hones your knife, so it will just keep it however sharp it already is. If it's already blunt, you won't make it any sharper, but like if it's already sharp, it'll continue to keep it sharp because it's really important for like keeping it good and that. This is pretty much the easiest and cheapest, well, one of the cheaper options and simplest ways to sharpen a knife. It is called, I'm not doing it slow, are you slow? It is called the Fury Tech Edge Knife Sharpening System. It'll be in the flonk below because I might have said it wrong as. But you get 3 of the fingers and then you can draw, I'll do that later, alright. And then you can draw your knife through, and this one's like super gritty, so like blunt knives can be made good. And then this one will take a okay knife and bring it up, and then this one will hone. And between these 3, you don't even need to buy like a massively good knife, because you know, if you're going to spend money, get this first and you can make all your knives good. Doesn't work on serrated knives. They can't be sharpened as easy because they're bumpy, obviously. Think about it. Now I do it. Storage for knives. Much like spouses, you want to put them somewhere nice to keep them keen. This is a magnetic knife rack. It's magnetic. Now, this is pretty handy because it can put any knife on it as long as it's metal. Not many glass knives are there. And then they just go up there. Keeps them from getting damaged edges so that they stay sharp longer. As nice as it is having knives on display, they can get dusty and that. Also, if you're renting, then punching holes in a wall might be a no-no. A wooden knife block is the best thing to keep knives in. Don't have one. No, I didn't get time or have money to. It protects them and doesn't dull the edge like some of those custom plastic filled ones may do. It is also easy to install, as you just plonk it on the bench and you're done. That's bloody obvious. Another option is a drawer rack or something. Proper description may be in the font below. What's a drawer rack? Can be pricey, but you can snag some cheap ones online as well. You could also probably make your own. It's that's supposed to be the bit that you put the knife in. The red thing's the knife. You got that, Jim? And then it's got like little slots, and you can put it in your drawer. And then it stops all the utensils from bloody snicking the edge. It's good. It's good. And so might have a go at making one on the cheap for yous. What am I doing? A big don't for knives is to plonk them in your drawer with everything else. That will leave the edge exposed to bumping other stuff, which dulls the edge and can bend it or even chip it. If you don't have a good spot to store your knives, don't buy a good knife until you do. So what's a good knife to buy? Well, it always depends on budget. Obviously pricey ones come with better quality steel so they stay sharp longer. But you could also get budget knives if you have a good knife sharpener. See earlier in the video, then you can just sharpen it up. But a good knife to start off with is a chef's knife. Basically, they come in a variety of sizes. Probably don't want to go over 22 centimeters. 26 is stupid long. I think this one's like 20. Or is it 18? Who cares? Point is that it's got a curved blade, which means it's good for chopping. It's got a nice bit of finger gap here so that you don't bump your knuckles into the bloody thing. And also it can slice things so you don't need a carving knife. Good handle helps. I don't know, just making stuff up now. You can find them, usually online is cheaper than in a store, but if you get them as part of lots of knife block, thank you Jim, then you know it can be cheaper. That's the main kind of knife you want, a chef's knife. Then a bread knife. It's barely used, but it's more important than something like that. Nobody needs that unless you're a psychopath. And then there's the small ones that are always good. Is that a paring knife? Paring knife, fair enough. Not how I'd spell it. So it's a small knife, really cheap one, good one. As long as you can sharpen it, it's good. If you want to save a little bit of money and don't have a sharpener, always go for a serrated edge because it's easier to cut stuff, but once it's blunt, you can't sharpen it. And you can just throw it out or commit a crime with it, you know, if it's disposable. That's logical. I haven't killed anyone, Jim. You want to be the first? One last tip for keeping your knife sharp. Really helps if you're chopping up meat, the oils from the meat and acids from fruit and goblins can actually make your knife get a bit blunt. So it's always handy. You don't have to like scrub it clean, but just grab a soapy washcloth and wipe it just to get all the gunk off it. And then like, you know, you can wash it proper later, but a soapy one of them along the clacker of your knife, too easy. No, it's important, let me say it. Also, keeping iron in the house will scare off the goblins. So to recap, going online can be cheaper when buying individual knives than in stores, though you really should look at knife storage before you invest in a good knife so that you can keep it good. I lost where I was. And I'd recommend some websites, but I don't know what a website is. And the fellas don't want me to drop any names until they get sponsorship. You guys like sailing? Wrong kind of ship. Alright, hope that advice is good advice for storing and sharpening your knives and buying them, and hopefully that helps make cooking as easy as yourself. That's some bloody basics on knife care. More advice and recipes at other times and such. Until next time, I'm Crybaby Cowboy. Bonza Pet Eat.